We're getting you ready for International Women's Day by sharing with you 7 women who shaped the auto industry, whether that was with inventions or trailblazing qualities. Our next guest has all that and more. And Lauren Fix, the car coach, is joining us again on Your Day with Anna Koyman. Welcome back. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me back.
So we're having you talk about 7 women who really have transformed the automotive industry as we prepare for International Women's Day. And number 1, you have Bertha Benz and the brake pads. Who's this?
Right. So you think of Mercedes-Benz. It was originally 2 families. Carl Benz is the original founder of the car, and he was busy doing something. And one day his wife, Bertha, who didn't have a lot of education, she declined going to further education like college. She jumped in the truck with her in the car with the 2 boys, and she took off. They didn't know it. She wanted to go for a drive. I know, it's fabulous. So what ended up happening was the vehicle was still under production. It was sort of concept, and they had a problem with the brakes. And again, brakes aren't what they are today, where you step on the brake pedal. It was a cable brake. So she found a piece of leather from a belt, and she made the new brake pads.
Oh my
and
goodness.
Since then, she is the founder of the road trip and of the brake pad. And her husband wasn't very happy, but he loved the fact that she was creative and came up with the solutions. And those are some of the solutions that make her very famous today.
A bit of a trailblazer in more ways than one. I mean, it's almost like just one step ahead of just putting your foot out, putting your heel down to drag as a brake to slow yourself down. But wow, look how far we've come because of her. Next up, we have Margaret Wilcox. And Margaret Wilcox helped to invent the car heater, something that we definitely need during the winter.
Right. Remember, cars were around in the 1800s, and she was born in 1883. But in 1893, she was starting to get around in these horseless carriages that had just come out, and she was cold. And she said, you can put blankets around you, but it just wasn't enough. So it inspired her to come up with a heater. Now, the heaters aren't what they are today, where you just flip on a switch. These are obviously something a little bit more, but it made her winter drive just a little bit more enjoyable. And I think that's kind of neat, because now heaters are normal in every car.
Yes, they are. I love the bun warmers as well. Is that okay to say? Okay, next up we have Mary Anderson and Charlotte Bridgewood. And what did they do? Something with the windshield wipers?
Right. So think about windshield wipers. We use them every day. Again, normal standard items in every single vehicle on the road. Right. So previous to that, they would have to stop if it was snowing or raining and wipe off the windshield so they could see. Could you imagine that? Well, I'm sure they had a towel or something, because it was more proper at the time. But due to a snowy day, they couldn't see out the window. So they said, we want to enjoy the sights. We don't want to be cold. We don't want to get out of the vehicle all the time. So they came up with a wiper that would go back and forth. Originally, it was manual. And then, of course, they figured out how to put a motor on it. And that was what Charlotte Bridgewood did. Mary Anderson came with the wiper blade. And between the 2 of them, they found these wiper blades could clean windshields. And it was great. And they are now part of history, because this is something that everybody knows, everyone uses, and you don't even think twice about it.
You don't think twice about it. And gosh, I mean, think about how much it would slow us down if we couldn't ever drive in the rain, or couldn't ever drive, in the snow or something. Okay.
Or get out and wipe off your windshield. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that might ruin our hair or something, darling.
Yeah.
Next up, we have June McCarroll. And June McCarroll, there was actually a tragedy that inspired her to come up with road markings.
Right. June McCarroll in 1917 was driving along a road in California. And recently there had been a couple deaths on this road, and she found herself with a truck coming right at her. Roads weren't as wide as they are today. And she got very concerned, and her choice was either hit the truck or drive off in the dirt, which she did. And then she realized, we need to come up with some road marking. So back in 1917, she was the first one to come up with the white lines on the outside of the road and the yellow road marking, so you know when to pass and when not to pass. That eventually spread across the United States. It's used globally now, but originally June McCarroll was the one who came up with the idea, and that's pretty cool.
There you go. Out of tragedy comes triumph sometimes.
Right.
And next up, we have Florence Lawrence. So Florence Lawrence helped to come up with auto signaling. And so, back in the day, I guess you would probably just go, I'm turning left or I'm turning right, kind of like I do when I'm on my bike, when I'm training or something. But so what's the story behind that one?
Well, she was actually a silent movie star. So they used to have silent movies before they had audio, and that was her big claim to fame. So everyone kind of knew who Florence Lawrence was. But what she did find is that, she would have to put her arm out the window, whether, up or left or down or whatever it might be. And she said, there's got to be a better way. So she is the one who is credited with creating brake lights and turn signals, which again, something on every vehicle, something we're used to, but it didn't exist before that. And this device she came was the auto signaling arm. And it was a little arm that you'd put out and would say, I'm making a left or making a right. So now, and it wasn't an arm like your arm, it was actually like a piece of plastic that would stick out. And if you were in an old car museum, you'll see these little arms that would stick out. They were different colors. And then for stopping, there weren't brake lights, but she was involved in creating the brake lights as well.
Yeah. How interesting. All from a movie star from silent movies. And our second to last one, the last one's the best. So make sure you stick around for that one. But Hedy Lamarr was also into movies. She was a movie star as well. And she came up with Bluetooth. What's the story behind that one?
Okay, so during World War II, Bluetooth was created, but previous to that, Hedy Lamarr was a very famous actress. And if you follow the movies and you love those old days of the Academy Awards, you will find Hedy Lamarr. She was in a bunch of movies, won a bunch of Academy Awards. But before that, she was involved in World War II with creating a jumping technology like Bluetooth. You put your earpiece in and it immediately connects to your phone or to your tablet or to your computer or to your car. Well, all that technology was actually used to distract missiles during World War II. So they would send jumping signals and frequencies so the missiles wouldn't hit their targets. And she was involved in the design of that. And she was an actress as well, which is pretty cool. So Hedy Lamarr created Bluetooth, which we use every day on every phone. And I think it's kind of neat because you would never think of that a female came up with that.
You wouldn't. And also, I mean, she's almost like a movie star to practically a war hero in some ways. I mean, you have to tread lightly when you say that, but you know what I mean. And number 7, I am so excited to have you on Your Day with Anna Koyman. It really does mean a lot to me. You and I go way, way back. I used to interview you when I was hosting morning TV in New York City. And I have to tell you, so you are number 7. Lauren Fix, the car coach. Everyone.
Thank you.
Is number 7. So tell us how you got into this and why you're so passionate about it.
Well, my father worked for the big 3 automakers at the time. There were just 3, and I was involved in cars, and someone asked me to go racing. So my racing sort of evolved into something that's more like golf for me now. I do it whenever I can, but I have raced in a lot of series and won quite a few awards over the time. But during that time, I started training dealers about talking to women and buying cars. And that led to the opportunity to be Oprah's automotive expert. So I worked with her from 1992 until she shut the show down. And it was great. I was on the road with her. I learned a lot and I met a lot of great people. But all that opened up the opportunity to be on national TV when that network started, as well as all the 24-hour news networks. I've literally been on everything. But I've done so many cool things over my lifetime. I'm in the National Women's Transportation Hall of Fame. And I just love helping people make great decisions, whether it's buying a car, selling a car, saving money, finding a mechanic, whatever it might be. The idea is if I can give you knowledge is power, and that gives you car smart. So I've made my life's venture in helping people get car smarts and really learning as much as they can, because no one talks about cars today like your parents did or your grandparents did, because it's more of a piece of technology than it is transportation. And it is way more than transportation. It's your freedom.
Yeah. Well, you've empowered so many people because of all the information that you give for free online as well. So that's just thank you. Thank you so much for that. I was actually last night at a prospective kindergartner mom little party last night. And they said, what are you doing tomorrow? And I said who I was interviewing. And the girl goes, I know Lauren Fix. My husband and I were buying a car and she helped us so much on YouTube and all of that. So
I'm so glad to help people. It really makes my day. It really does. I mean, all the unique things that I've done that you can't do again. It's amazing how it leads to helping as many people as you can. And the idea is to pay it forward. So pass the knowledge along to your friends.
Totally. Well, thanks for coming on, and we'll have you on again. Thanks so much.
Thank you.